So I am back in Canada and I haven't done this in a long time, but this is combining some of the earliest of my videos. So for those that are newer, you probably won't understand this. But when I started on here, before I started doing films and movies and all that stuff, I used to do a lot of like taste tests and stuff like that. And I'm excited to do this. I went out today and I picked up some stuff. So I picked up some books that I want to talk about because there's been some friction in the comic book industry, and DC has actually gone out and answered a lot of the complaints and questions that people had. But tonight, it has zero sugar, by the way. Hey, William. Tonight, William, I'm trying for the first time Oreo Coca Cola with zero sugar. I normally I would wait for a bunch of people to come, but I don't know if a bunch of people are going to come. But William, you're here. We're going to do this. I have no idea what this is going to taste like. So fingers crossed this is good. I got a backup Coke and a pineapple crush just in case. So let's smell it first, right? It does smell like Oreo. And a bit of vanilla. So let me know if you can hear me okay, because I'm not using a microphone today. So William, if you have any issues hearing me, let me know. Because today we're we're using the mic that's on the computer. So cheers. Okay. So so it does taste like Oreo. Damn. Um, Now the zero sugar thing means that I can taste a bit of that, you know, artificial sweetener. I don't know if everybody will. Perfect, but I've got a really sensitive palate to for those artificial sweeteners. So I always do second try. I would definitely buy this again. I am not sad that I bought this. I'm not sad at all. I'm going to drink more of this later. Okay, so anyway, um, there's been a bit of a flux in the comic industry, and where comics has not sold as well, like say as even some of the films have done. Uh, we have, however, gotten something that the question is like, how come manga sells so well, while comic books on a regular basis don't? So the question that a lot of people had, like the complaint a lot of people had, was, well, comic books are 32 pages. They're, they got a bunch of ads in them. It brings them down to 21 or 22 pages. They're very expensive. Floppies are hard to collect. More people are collecting special edition, limited editions. This is good. I like this. Um, so how can people say, why don't comic books become more like manga? So DC took that to heart. So for those that don't know, so I went to Chapters today. Um, I went to Sunrise Net too, but we're looking at chapter stuff today. Um, so for those that don't know, about a year and a half so ago, uh, DC and Marvel both went to being distributed from Diamond to Penguin Random House. And people wondered how that was going to affect things. So how it's affected things so far is comics are more accessible, especially collected editions. They become more accessible because Penguin Random House has gone out of their way. Hey there, Alan. Welcome. Got your car back. Hope whether it's told. We had a car accident recently, actually. Luckily, everybody was okay. So this is a compact comic. Comes out from DC. You can see they're the size of a manga. But what's even better is they are priced accordingly. So your average manga now in Canada will cost you around like $14 to $15 for a book, which is actually pretty good for like a 300, 400 page book. Um, these here DC compacts, Canada are $13.50, $9.99 in the US. So about £8 in like in London, yeah, well, in the UK. And they are not black and white. They are full color. It starts out. That's the first cover to the first issue of All Star Superman. I love All Star Superman. That's one of my absolute favorite Superman stories. So the neat thing about this, it's done like a manga, so colors are great. The binding is good as the binding is going to be on this type of size book. Yeah, I really love these quite the covers. But these you can like me. I travel. I took a 20-hour flight to get here, so something like this, put in my backpack. I can take it and read it on the flight, and I love the way these are done. So they put them into categories. So on the back here, you'll see that it has like this one is science fiction fantasy because Superman's science fiction fantasy. To get the Marvel Spider-Man, I did not actually. And I love the way these look on the shelf. So this is what it's going to look like on the shelf. So I picked up another one. I'm going to be picking up more because these are like really, really freaking cheap. And I got the Harley Quinn and the Gotham City Siren. So I haven't read this storyline. Like I read the other one. I haven't read this. So for me, this is the total new story. But at really $13. Yeah, I can spare $13 to try a new story. Most like magazines that I try are shorter than that, and more expensive. So we get some incredible artwork in here, and this is on their Adventure line. It's good old Joker right there. Let's see if we get a nice cheesecake shot for you to want to see some sexy Harley Quinn. Oh, well, there's Angela. There we go. But if you're watching this and you're not watching this just for me, which I do appreciate if you do, by the way, this is what they'll look like on your shelf. The Oreo cookie was really good, man. Have you tried it yet, Trek? I was in fear of trying this. But I am like 1/3 the way through. I think one of the things that makes this really good is if you were a fan of the vanilla, like Cokes or vanilla like sodas, to give that the Oreo taste, because it does have the chocolatey taste, but to give that like that vanilla stuff in between the Oreo cookie to give that Oreo taste, then you gotta they had to put the vanilla in there, which means it's smooth. It's a really smooth one. So I got 2 more books from Indigo, and these are really big in 2 different ways. So for years Marvel's been doing a line called the Marvel Epic Collection, and DC has had nothing to go against that, to compete against that. You have to retry it. As long if you like vanilla track, that's got a good. I the vanilla part is what I Jones in this, and I love me some vanilla. So I'm not. But for years, like people have asked DC to do something along the lines of Marvel Epic Collection. So if you don't know what Marvel Epic Collection is, it usually has around 400 to 500 pages, and it like focuses on like a storyline as opposed with a character as opposed to as opposed to a like an omnibus, right? So and they'll be done out of order, but they'll have the year usually on the back of them. There'll be no like number on the spine. There'll be a number on the back. So with the FOMO thing. So finally, we got this. So this is the beginning of the DC's version of Marvel Epic Collection, which is called DC Finest. So if you're a comic book fan and you're my age or maybe like 10 years younger, then you're gonna remember this DC Bullet, which used to be a big, massive thing, and brings back a lot of memories for me as a kid. So it's called Batman Year One and Year Two, but it's not just that. So it does have Batman Year One and Year Two. So you got the classic Frank Miller story in here, and we got the original like Reaper story, but it also includes all the stories that came in that around that time. There used to be a series of books, they were pretty expensive, called the Archive Collection, and the DC used to put out. And you would get like there was a Superman one, there's an Action Comics one, there's a Batman one, there was like a detective one type. So you wouldn't get like all the stories in one. You'd have to read like two or three different one. Oh yeah, the bull logo's Batman. And so on on the side right here, you'll see that it has the years. So this is 1986, 1987. So this is right after Crisis on Infinite Earths. The picture of Batman from that era. And you look on the back, you see a couple of the comic issues. And right here, you have a timeline. And it goes from 1938 to 2011. So from the start of DC, really the start of superhero comics, until like New 52, Flashpoint. DVD wallet things, they're pretty cheap. I mean, like just go on Amazon. There's like, I don't think it's any that you're gonna be unsafe with at this point. And what they do is they highlight the years that are in the omnibus. So this is 1986, 1987. And what's nice about this is you don't have to like buy two different books to get a complete story or to get a run. Uh, when they say it has all the Batman, this is all the Batman. This is Batman and Detective Comics, or the Batman and Detective Comics that were coming out. And I'll do like an overview of this one better down the road. So this is the cover page right here. I love this art, by the way. And we got the contents. What's nice is that there are page numbers, which you think would be normal, but no, a lot of these books don't have page numbers. Not these, but a lot of like books like this don't have page numbers. But they'll have like page things listed here. So what's that for? And I'll say like who did the cover, who's who's the artist, that type of thing. Rest in peace, Tony Todd is right. We start off here with Batman was part of the Legends crossover, which happened right after there. It's Magpie, who recently showed up in Penguin, a different version of her character. As you can see, that's the Batman comic right there. And at the time, who's writing Batman 401? Barbara J. Randall. So that is different. But I'll show you like the way that some of these are done. But these are brilliantly done. And it won't be just the thing that I love about this is that it'll have the Batman stories in there, like the Max Allan Collins when he was writing Batman, but it also has the detective stories in there as well. And of course, the classic Batman Year One. I'm so excited to have this. One thing I said when I came to Canada like this was that I needed to get these. Like these were ones that I wanted to have so bad. If you haven't read Batman Year One, by the way, it's one of the best Batman stories. And one of the better things that Miller did. I used to this cover right here with Batman and Sherlock Holmes. Isn't that awesome? Prediction for next year: Disney will fully own Hulu, and it will be they don't they already? Well, they own a large portion of it. Integrated for all Disney Plus users. I hope so. I'm okay with Disney on Hulu. Yeah, well, unfortunately, he wasn't too old either. He was in his 60s when Tony Todd sadly passed away. Found that out last night. So you get these incredible like comic covers here, which I absolutely adore. I'm completely in love with this book line. And there's 2 out right now. One comes out a week. We got the annuals here as well. So this Villains in Love one, which was a really cool annual. I used to have this actually when I was a kid. Oh my god, 1987. So I would have been like 16 at the time. I remember buying this off the shelf. And of course, some people don't like it as much as I do, but it's a classic cover. And here we go, Batman Year 2. Got Batman there holding the gun. But man, some of this cover art. '69. That is way too young. Batman New Adventures when Dave Cockrum was actually doing some of the art. Don't you love this? Wasn't it an incredible time? Such a freaking amazing time. Anyway, so I picked up 2 of these because there's only 2 of these that are out. And I had to go to 2 different stores to get them because they were sold out. So if you want to get them, let's say get them soon. This is the Superman one. So it is Superman, the first superhero, which is, well, it's true, he's the first superhero. You kind of make superheroes popular. And unlike I mentioned before, like you have to buy Superman archives to get Superman stories, and you have to buy comics archives to get the action comics Superman stories. They're all included in here. As you can see right here, classic action and Superman comics. And by the way, New York World's Fair comics is here as well. This goes from 1938 to 1940. Make sure you guys can see it. And I love, got the bullet logo there, and we got the classic looking Superman. And I like the remastering of this. It's incredible stuff. So remember that these were done back in 1938. And this is not like Superman does fight a couple like villains, like super villains in this one, but this is the time Superman was fighting like slumlords, and he when there was a guy, there was like somebody was kind of voting on betting on football, and he like kidnapped the football player and actually took his place. And it was during World War II as well. So there's some different depictions. So they give you like a warning there, but they don't change or take anything out. Like that's one thing that I enjoy. That it was a different time period. Rather than take anything out, they just say, "Hey, it's a different time period. There's different depictions at the time." So heads up. So after a while in Action Comics, what happened? Well, Superman got his own comic, and the neat thing is they even have the text story. If there's a text story, that's there as well. They have like Superman's amazing strength, scientifically explained. A superhero. I used to love these things in comic books, like saying, "Hey, you can be healthy and you can go do all this kind of stuff as well." Is your number 1 movie to see next year? I'm so excited about Superman, by the way. It looks really good. And I love the fact that they've actually started it within a fully functioning, fully already going, like DC universe. So I'm so not about like seeing the whole thing over again. I don't need to see like on Superman again, like doing the exact same thing. So this is a very famous or infamous cover. So you see this right here. So this guy here, which a lot of people, including one of the artists, assumed that was Lex Luthor, but it wasn't. It was another character. I think it was called the Ultra Humanite. Anyway, so Lex Luthor had hair, but somebody looked at the cover of that issue of Superman and mistook him for Lex Luthor and drew Lex Luthor bald. And that's how Lex Luthor became bald. Guy Gardner with Nathan Fillion. Yeah, there's so many people. Mr. Terrific is in there as well this time around. I think it's gonna be a really good like Mr. Terrific. There's a lot of characters. So I'm very curious. I'm very curious to see how the Authority is going to be done, because I'm a massive fan of the Authority, especially the first arc. The first like arc run of the Authority was really good. I like Planetary as well. So if you're a big comic guy and you know what I'm talking about, if not, check those out. Sadly, the guy that like drew Planetary passed away this year. Amazing artist, by the way. I really do like this. I like get. Hey, Kubrick, welcome, man. Oreo Coke, actually freaking good. So DC did it. They basically said, okay, manga is selling really well. You want to start reading comics, but they're too expensive, they're too pricey, and you don't feel like you're getting enough bang for your buck. So there you go. DC Compact Comics. In the United States, this is going to cost you $9.99. In the UK, it's going to cost you £8. In Canada, it's going to cost you $13.50. Oh, the Oreo and Coke is really good. Check it out. You go to the library. Definitely check these out. Look how sexy these will look on a bookshelf. Sexy. Sexy on the bookshelf. They gave you a exactly because it's a. I mean, it's kind of like a kind of a throwback to that. Ever since, like in modern day times, they've brought back Lex usually when like second Lois and Clark and like in newer like Superman, they'll always usually start out Lex with hair, and then he'll eventually lose his hair. And they try to explain it in the modern comic with basically because Lex has hair. Like after Crisis on Infinite Earths, when they show Lex again, Lex is more of a businessman as opposed to a mad scientist. Actually, when I started this video, that's what I said. I'm here in Canada now to Kubrick. I'm staying at my sister's place. So I thought I would, since I'm in Canada again, where I started my YouTube channel almost 13 years ago, I used to, as you know, you used to watch me back then. I did like taste tests on chips and drinks and stuff like that. I used to do videos with comic books and that in them. So I said, okay, tonight I'm going to come on here. It won't be a long video, but I'm going to do a video talking about with the taste test and with comic books, completely old school, completely off the cuff. And really, this is kind of almost an anniversary throwback video. It's nice to be back here in Canada. I miss my better half. I miss my kitty cats. But my sister has just like the cutest little cat here. Well, cutest cat. She's not a little cat. Second I came in last night, because I got in about like 1 a.m. last night. And I was tired, right? So I come in and the cat like comes downstairs where I'm sleeping and she's like very cuddly. She wants her pets. Yeah, definitely. It's a way to check them out. Like, say, for instance, you've never wanted to read. Like, it's a complete story. All these are complete stories, right? So you go in, you pick up one of these. You know, it's easy. You know, this is something easy to carry home. And even if you want to pick one of these up, look at the artwork on this. And even though these are smaller, like Gene Hackney didn't actually. So they had him like they compromised with the wig. Uh, so eventually, what they did for Superman in the comic book was they killed off Lex Luthor. He had cancer, and they brought in this new kind of like Alexander Luthor, and it was supposed to be. I won't like spoil it for you for a comic that was like years old, but he had long red hair, and he seemed to be at the beginning uh, a better like Luthor than his father was. I got to read. I got the Batman manga. I don't have Superman manga, but I hear it's really good. I saw like, I think Casually Comics did a video on it. And if you've never seen the Alexander, like the Luthor storyline, like from that era of like Superman, it was really freaking good because it slowly gets revealed exactly who he is, and we start to see like the cracks. It's such a good. I know a lot of people don't like this, but I'm here, man. I dig it. Dad, if you're watching, check this out. Well, Newfoundland has its own distinct time zone. So, because Atlantic provinces, other Atlantic provinces like Nova Scotia, have a half hour difference than us. So Newfoundland literally has its own very own time zone. He does very much look like Lionel. So Lionel looks almost like John Glover. So he looks like John Glover. Um, John Glover's my one of my favorite like people, and I love him as an actor. He's just so good. Like his Lionel. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna say this right now. As much as his Lionel is supposed to be like this horrible dad, uh, to Clark, like Lionel becomes this amazing dad. When sometimes Jonathan Kent is not exactly the nicest guy. He can be a bit hot headed. Lionel, although kind of like more manipulative, sometimes thinks things out, right? Um, and it would change over years. Obviously, stuff would happen. I was a massive fan of Smallville. I'm a big Superman fan. If you have not checked out, by the way, like the Superman Lois series that's just ending, or if that hasn't just ended, um, really freaking good show. Lasted 4 seasons, just really well done. I was really nervous about their take on like Lex, but yeah, I really dug it. They did a very different Lex because the guy that played Lex on Superman and Lois is the guy from Walking Dead. You know the guy with the big like uh red beard. I can't remember his name. His character's name is now. Oh, I love that storyline. You know your stuff. Crisis of Crimson Kryptonite. That was like early on, or after. I think that was fairly early on, wasn't it? After they did the oh god in the John Byrne run. Haven't showed it since 2012. You're probably better off for that. But mom bought me some tea and stuff, and I forgot to tell her to get me some soda while I was here because I know there's a holiday on Monday, so Remembrance Day, right? I went to the gas station, picked up some soda. So I went to the mall today. Went to Sunrise Records. Not a Debbie Downer, you're being honest, man. You should always be honest. And I went to Sunrise Records, and I wanted to pick up a Radiance thing. So George is here. I went to look for Radiance um, because I've been heard great stuff about him. So I finally held a Radiance box in my hand. It was the Casa Nostra set. Uh, and I think that's Damiano Dominelli. And so but it was $100 and something dollars. And that's $50 more than it was on Amazon. Now, like if it was like $5 or $10, like I could understand because okay, I'll have to, I'll have to pay like shipping and stuff like that, or I have to pay taxes. But over $50 more, yeah, I'm gonna order it. Not Michael Rooker, actually. The God, what was his name? Let me see. I'll find it for you. So this Lex Luthor is played by Michael Cudlitz. No, not Michael Rooker. It's like Michael Cudlitz. Let's see if I can show you a picture of him. And he's a more vicious Lex Luthor. So he had hair, I think, but he shaved it for this. He did such a good job as Lex because yeah, there is like from Walking Dead. But he's a more vicious Lex Luthor. Oh, by the way, since we're here, and everybody's going to ask about it. I'm going to do this real quick because I want to do like its own dedicated video. But it's sold out. The big bundle for the Russ Myers, but there's still the Russ Myers Super Bundle, $219, which is $310 by the way in Canada. It is region free. And what do you get with this bundle right here? Well, you get 4K for Vixen, Super Vixens, and Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens. That's a 2-disc 4K UHD with slipcover for all three of the films. Plus, you get the Russ Meyer Boozemania T-shirt, the Russ Meyer business card, original vintage, the Russ Meyer Films catalog, original vintage, the A Clean Breast flyer, original vintage, Super Vixen's postcard, original vintage, Super Vixen's VHS sleeve, original vintage, Erica Gavin signed Vixen VHS sleeve, original vintage, Vixen VHS label, original vintage, and Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixen's VHS label, original. It comes, by the way, with a bunch of special features. It is region free across the board. So both the Blu-ray and the 4K are all region free. So no matter where you get this, and there, of course, there is a UK edition as well. Oh, I mentioned before, yeah, but the Nitro 5. Yeah, I do have a Nitro 5. How do you find it? Well, I did you what I did with mine, I think like it's a where the drive is split. I I'm not sure if I added did I add more storage to mine? Because I know you can. Um I need to get like a bigger SSD drive if I can possibly do it. But my Nitro, I gotta say, so far, and I've had it for a while. You know when the Nitro 5 came out, right? Because there were two editions that I think initially. Because there's one that didn't have an SSD drive. But like you, I went for the one with the SSD drive. Because once you know, right? You don't go back. People wondering why like suddenly consoles got a lot more faster and there's like no wait time. It's because it's no longer a hard drive, it's an SSD drive. Yeah. My iPhone storage is not as big as your iPhone storage. But I think like I'm glad that people are gonna be able to get the Russ Meyer sets. It's some cool stuff there. It's just good because like for me, I find that I've had the Nitro for quite a few years, and I think it's still working pretty well. Like I'm not gonna play like super hardcore games on it, but I can play Fortnite, I can play Call of Duty, I can play a lot of games on it. I can play some of the Tomb Raider games, stuff like that. But I've got a console which I use for that type of stuff. But I used to use like my monitor. Obviously, I used to do videos on it because you guys saw that. But I would use it a lot for editing as well, and I still use it for editing. So if I'm like when I have like clips that I'm putting into a video, like say if I'm doing if you see me like doing a video and you see like movie clips or something like pop up or smaller beard makes me care. Thank you so much. I actually really appreciate that. That's what I got to tell my better half now, so she lets me like stay at least a little trim. But yeah, I got home today. Well, I got here yesterday, and I went out. So tomorrow, there's something here called Fog Fest, which you guys would love. It's a horror movie festival, and it has like short films and it has like horror films and stuff come in, and they have people come in. They have like they show usually a short horror film with a which is newer with a horror film. Sometimes a newer horror film, sometimes something that's different. And I want to show you guys. So let me just go to it. So it's their premier horror festival. And I'll let you guys see what I'm going to. So you can see there's like a ton of horror stuff here. Here's one I'm going to. So there's 2022 when he had like the show Terrifier 2 there, and which is a great like Terrifiers. They're some people don't like them, but they're really good. Like when it comes to Free Women Horror Panel, I think that's already happened. Beat the Makers. So tickets and festival pass on sale. Let's just show some of the stuff. So what I'm going to is this right here. So Fogfest for Sunday Bloody Sunday feature the original, the OG My Bloody Valentine is playing. It is going to be there with George Mahalka, the director, will be on hand. He's going to be in attendance, probably doing an introduction, maybe hopefully doing a Q&A afterwards, opening with the short film Bath Bomb. And one of the neat things there, they also mention the fact, did they mention here? They mentioned over somewhere else that there is the opportunity to win some freight rags stuff there. So cross your fingers for me, guys, that I might actually win a freight rags t-shirt because I need me some more t-shirts. So today, for instance, Frankie Frico was playing with the short Gaslight, and that what plays about half an hour now from now. Then Dark Match played, and did its psychological shorts coming up tomorrow, and then there's a spooky showcase on Monday. There's Tales from the Tide and Scarlet Blue. So there's a ton of different stuff happening at the festival. So say for instance, so there's some like horror shorts that are playing, which I think is absolutely incredible. Look how creepy that looks, man. And if you're a wrestling fan, were you a wrestling fan, guys out there? They actually were showing this one tonight. Splatter Day Night, which looks like cheesy fun. Dark Match. So Dark Match, a small-time wrestling company accepts a well-paying gig in the backwoods town only to learn too late that the community is run by a mysterious cult leader with devious plans for their match. And it starts with a short film called Defile. A couple's secluded getaway is suddenly interrupted by a strange family who exposes them to the horrors that lie beyond the tree line. So, kind of tempted to go see this, to be honest with you. Anybody see Dark Match? Hey, Rourke Waffles, welcome, man. Well, no, Atlantic time zone is its own time. Newfoundland adds its own specific time zone that nobody else has. We're like a half hour behind the Atlantic time zone. So so it becomes like uh, the it becomes here in New Year's happens here before it happens in the rest of Canada. GTA 5. Well, I am back in Canada for a couple weeks, so that's kind of cool for 3 weeks. Like if I wasn't dressed in my PJs, like these are my pajamas that my mom got for me. They're waiting for me when I got here. I did not expect them. It's really sweet of her. This is Fogfest 4. I have got to look this up. Dark Match. Have you heard of it, guys? Has anybody heard of Dark Match? I wonder if there's any actual wrestlers in this one. Chris Jericho's in it. I thought it looked like Chris Jericho. So Chris Jericho's in Dark Match. Jonathan Cherry's in it too? Okay. Um, and Sarah Canning. What do I know her from? Or from Planet of the Apes. Okay. Was she a little girl in Stephen Ogg? Yeah, I mean, like, it's tempting. Like, I'm not gonna lie, so it is tempting. But I want to save and go to. I'm going to the one tomorrow because I really want to see My Bloody Valentine. Like, I showed this to Hind, and she was like, "You should go to all this." She said, "You should be experiencing all this stuff." Like, if I wanted to, I could get dressed up right now and go see Frankie Frico, which is playing with Gaslit playing head of it. So Frankie Frico is the new one being done by the guys that did The Editor and Turbo Kid and stuff like that. And it's with the short Gaslit, which is actually kind of a comic one. A woman goes to dangerous lengths to prove she wasn't responsible for a fart. I know a lot of people are buying Frankie Frico right now from different places. It's kind of neat. We get our own like time zone. But yeah, I'm super looking forward to this. So fingers crossed everything goes okay. I will be checking this out. I might even go early to go to see the spooky showcase. Free showcase of exciting spooky television from our community and across Canada. So Only the Night Knows, Cradle in the Waves, Creepy Cape Breton, A Newfoundland Nightmare, The Hag. That should be interesting, actually. And Ominous. Oh, by director George Mihalka, who did, of course, the movie that I'll be watching, My Bloody Valentine. So maybe I should go early. That's one of the neat things of being here, be able to visit stuff like this is like I can do this, and when I get back to oh, did I tell you guys yet? So the Marrakesh Film Festival is happening when I get back to Marrakesh, and the guy that's being highlighted this year, the one that because he always every year they spotlight somebody and they give them like they honor them. So this year, a Canadian is being honored in Marrakesh. Obviously, it's me, right? No, it is David Cronenberg. So David Cronenberg is being honored in Marrakesh, and they will be. He's going to be there. He's going to be showing his latest film, The Shrouds, I think it's called, and more than likely he's going to be doing a like a Q&A type of like interview type thing and conversation type thing. So I'm gonna go watch that. I'm gonna go see his films. There's a few films playing that I want to see. So I'm probably gonna try and get to as more films this year. So look forward to like probably a few decent reviews of films that aren't out yet, like festival films. So because there's some nice stuff, some really interesting stuff that I'm super stoked to check out. But with that being said, I'm not keeping anybody very long on a Saturday. Thank you so much for coming in. If you haven't tried it, be adventurous and try some Oreo Coca-Cola. The one thing I'll say is it doesn't really leave much of an aftertaste. If anything, if you're like sensitive to that, like I am to like sugar-free sweeteners, you'll 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 taste that a bit. You'll get a little bit of aftertaste with the sugar-free sweetener. But the trying to make this into an Oreo thing gave it more of a vanilla flavoring to it, which I think is really good. So the chocolate doesn't linger as long as the vanilla aspect of it does. But that the good thing about that is if you're someone that's more sensitive to soft drinks, I think this one here is going to be a bit of a nice light soft drink for you, where you're not going to have like much aftertaste and not a lot of burning sensation for that. So that's always a good thing. Thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate you talking comics because not a lot of people talk comics with me. And I did want to talk comics for the guys that just came in or guys watching this later on. Uh, really cheap pickup, DC Compact Comics. These are two that I won't, well, I haven't read this one, but here it's really good. But I can definitely recommend All Star Superman. Just it's a classic. It's hard to believe that's a classic. I remember when it initially came out. And of course, I have picked up the two latest, the brand new line that DC is doing, and that is DC's finest, the a run on Superman from 1938 to 1940, and what's called Batman Year One and Year Two. But there's more than Batman Year One and Year Two. There's actually all of Batman and all of Detective Comics from 1986 and 1987, including the annuals, any special editions that got done. There you go, and you can get them for less than an epic. My name's Aaron. I will see you later. Thank you, and it is nice to be back in Canada for a visit. It's always nice to come home and visit here. So there, prepare for out and abouts, a bunch more stuff. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff to show. So I'll see you soon. And because it's Canada, because I'm in Newfoundland, I got to say it right now. I had some soda, but it is time for tea. And use that Newfoundland phrase,